All right, welcome back to the channel, Lockdown Sports. Let's get locked in. Talking about David De Gea today. And the reason why we're talking about him, he's just won a Golden Glove. We give David De Gea an award for that. I think if any year should teach you this, I think this is the year that it's really an award for the goalkeeper, but as well the defense, because that's what made this achievement by Manchester United. Lisandro Martinez, one of the best centre backs in the league, quite frankly, in the world. Luke Shaw, Rafa Varane, Diego Dalot, a lot of guys stepping up on the defensive end and making those interceptions, blocks, where and when it matters. When we talk about David De Gea, it's been a topsy-turvy road. He's let me down a lot of times. Big cup finals, he's let me down. Lots of big games in Europe, even recently that's happened again. But he's been a multiple player of the year for Manchester United. And there's so much that's being said, and it's become a more prominent topic over the years, right? And we're at that point where the truth lies somewhere in the middle of all these opinions from experts, Twitter experts, from fans, whoever it is. The truth isn't as clear as what I thought it used to be. You've heard it all before. David De Gea is a bad modern goalkeeper. The standard for modern goalkeepers is set by one German over there in Bayern Munich, Manuel Neuer, who's set the precedent for collecting crosses, for being able to be comfortable with the ball at feet, and also making sure you do the sweeping job. And you see David De Gea, and these are things that are clearly not part of his game. Luis Enrique recently, last couple of years, he has been in and out of the squad with him, with Spain. De Gea said it himself, and it's really unexpected because of what Manchester United, what we thought we'd be getting from a keeper from Atletico Madrid. You watch some of that old film and you see a keeper comfortable with the ball at feet, comfortable under the duress of a press. You don't get that at Manchester United. And the other side of it, I guess, is David De Gea being an excellent shot stopper. It's always talked about how he uses his feet better than most other Premier League goalkeepers. And you look at this aspect of his game, goalkeeping, right? What a big aspect that would be for a goalkeeper. And in terms of the analytics, and I know a lot of people don't love the analytics on expected goals and whatnot, but it has definitely receded. We look at 2017, 2018, that David De Gea season, that David De Gea performance against Arsenal, nowhere near those levels anymore over the last couple of years, as he's become, in my opinion, statistically, well, not my opinion, statistically, he's become an average Premier League shot stopper. And look, if the numbers aren't enough for you, just take it on the eye test. Take it on the eye test that shows the big errors in games like the West Ham game recently, that show the errors that knocked us out of Europe against Sevilla. These are the sort of things that, at a club that prides itself in being England's finest, Europe's finest, whatever you want to call it, these are mistakes that simply can't fly. And, I'm talking about a topic that's been run through the mail a million times. And it's hard to provide value, I feel, as a creator when that sort of thing happens and you're a little bit late on the news. But the one thing that really sticks out to me is that this issue sort of shows how we sort of consume football. We live in Australia. A lot of the times it's highlights, a lot of the times it's mini matches. And those sort of things lead to a different understanding of the game. You watch highlights, you're not going to understand how teams play out from the back. You watch mini matches, you're not going to remember those trends as much in a game of what's actually happening between 22 players. You might catch a couple things here and there, but it's nowhere near the full story. You watch a full game, you're influenced by the commentators, and that's why you'll often hear pros say, I don't watch full games with the commentary. And then you see the likes of analysts that actually say, hold on, you only watch it once? Analysts spend days, weeks even, analyzing games, breaking down different parts of games, and they get all their value from watching a game in repeat viewing. And these are things that, as fans, we've got bigger shit on in our lives. We've got other things going for us because football, at the end of the day, is just for enjoyment. We can't exactly analyze or understand the game the same way as the experts that are dedicated 7 days, week in, week out. And I don't think that's new news by any means. But I say that to say this. the repercussions of there being such a difference in fans' opinions to the experts is really dangerous for the sport. You know, we've seen players' marketability essentially generate so many transfer movements that shouldn't have been, and they essentially prevent other players who may deserve the opportunities from getting those spots. And besides that, I'm sure you're all aware, the barbershop talk that is always underway about the legacy of players. These are the things that maybe about a David De Gea. There's so many players I can point to in the league. The perception of these players from a distance is so far from what it is in reality. Look, looking ahead for Manchester United, it's something that I do pretty much weekly. David De Gea staying at the club beyond this season shows an immense weakness from the club. We've seen this season already over the past couple of seasons what keeping an old legend for what they used to do in Cristiano Ronaldo can do to your club in terms of hampering it. This emotional connection that we have to the past is weak. You know, everything about Manchester United that I've learned over the last 5, 6, 7 painstaking years without a major trophy, everything I've learned is that we pride ourselves in winning more than anything. And there's only one club I can point to in the world that has that same sort of ethos of winning being the most important thing, and that's Real Madrid. And you look at how Real Madrid fans, Real Madrid pundits, how everyone in that community addresses their players. It's win or nothing, championship or bust. And then you look at these painstaking compromises that Manchester United makes in terms of the contracts we hand out to players. David De Gea, may I remind you, is still the second best paid keeper in the league. And it's because we pay him for what already happened. You see Liverpool last season with that same painstaking decision, having to let Mane walk away because they know how much of a premium they'd have to pay to keep him. And knowing the future might be worse without him, but there's no way you're paying that contract until retirement. It's these decisions where emotions need to be taken out of it that maybe businessmen are better suited to handling. But when you look at United and what's happened with so many other people that don't know football in the game, I understand why you don't trust it. So lots of question marks, I guess. More questions than answers in this video on what Man United wants to do going forward. I just hope Ten Hag's bluffing when it comes to talking about De Gea and potentially extending.